When you move, I move just like that. You ready, people? What is going on, guys? Barracuda. 1 year. There we are. Time to get at it. Man, there's 20 people in the room already. You guys, I got to tell you, I don't write notes for anything, but I just want to hold this up. Guys, there are a lot of things that and these aren't things that like I should casually talk about. No, these are things I have to talk about. And my goodness, I got tired of writing them down. Guys, we're going to do a little roll call. Welcome to Jig Squad. This is the 1 year anniversary show. I'm super excited to have people in chat. A couple people popped in, a couple people popped out already. There'll be more coming in. However, that all unfolds. I appreciate all you guys. Let me go through do roll call here. Brian Schmidt, thank you, buddy. Bass, you've been here for a long time, brother. 3 Fs. Yes, this one's going to be lots of good stuff. Sean Titsworth, what's up, buddy? How are you? Sean, you guys, Sean Titsworth, if you're not following him on Instagram, he posted a chatterbait today, and the first one was like it was like a white chatterbait with like orange tails a little bit, and it looks like a dreamsicle. It's fantastic. So you got to go see Sean's stuff. Dave Richardson, what's going on, buddy? David Toll, Scott, what's up, buddy? Michael Bradley, I appreciate it, brother. Gators, what's going on, brother? Darius, how are you? Oh, gosh. George Vol, what's up, buddy? Canada Chris is in the house. Omerta, he's in the house. Guys, listen, there's going to be so many different things to get unfolded. So when we start off, Frank, what's going on, buddy? So I had to kind of organize this. So there's 3 things that are going to happen tonight. Tennessee kayak fishing, what's happening, buddy? JP Harrell. So the way this is going to go tonight is first things first. If you're not subscribed, go hit the subscribe button, right? Why? I don't know. If you like jigs, if you like fishing jigs, you like making jigs, subscribe to Jig Squad. There's going to be a lot of content that I start moving over from Instagram. I'm still going to post things on Instagram, but I'm going to start posting a lot more things in shorts. So if you are a jig maker out there and you typically post pictures on Instagram, start taking short little videos, slow little pan shots of them, post them up, tag me in them. I'll post some once in a while and I'll post them in shorts on YouTube. Why? Just because it's another vehicle to drive some traffic to the Jig Squad experience. South Jersey fisherman, Mr. Matt. What's up, buddy? Yeah, Larry the Angler. What's going on, boys? Frank, how are you, buddy? I'll hit you guys as you come in. Vince, what's going on, buddy? So to get started, we're going to do it in 3 parts tonight. First part is going to be about the highlights of the last year and then a couple of thank yous. The second part is going to be lessons learned, the experiences of starting off, running a YouTube channel and the Jig Squad experience. And then the third part is going to be what are the plans for 2023 in the future. And I got to tell you, everyone's talking about their plans for 2023. But guys, listen, I'm telling you, this whole bottom section, that's all my plans for the future. 2 rows. And there's a lot of juice there. So you got to get ready for this. It's going to be popping. Brendan Brown, what's happening, buddy? Mr. Paladin. Paladin, I've been thinking this every single time I call you Paladin in the stream. Months back, you had corrected me and said you wanted to be called something else. What the heck was it? Because every time I call you Paladin, I always remember, I go, I think he told me he doesn't want to be called Paladin. So you remind me, brother. All right, so guys, this is a good opportunity for you guys to ask questions tonight and stuff. It's been a busy year, right? And I'll talk about that a little bit, but just I'm going to just start off with just some highlights. And before I even go there, yeah, Larry, it is going to be awesome, dude. Wait till you guys, if you guys stick around to the end, wait till you guys hear the crazy cool things that are going to happen this coming year. There's going to be some really cool stuff. So, you're wearing the same Tackle Warehouse shirt. There's other colors that I want besides this black one, but it just seems to be the one I always wind up getting from them. But anyway, it's a cool shirt. Black and white, hard to go wrong. Oh, man, Big Jim, thank you very much, buddy. 1 year. All right, so listen. So some of you guys, a lot of you guys do know this, but a lot of people need to know. Alf, that's what I'm going to go with, brother. I'm calling Palin an elf from now on. That's it. Okay, so just a short little version of how Jig Squad even started. Okay, and I'm not going to take a long time with this because there's shows that talked about it before, but now you give me one-on-one to kind of say this. And basically, so you guys know I've said it many times. I've been designing jigs for 20 some years, 25 years. Maybe it's almost 30 now. I don't know. I'm going to be 50 in January. So uh basically I decided, I'm like, I kind of want something to do during the summers and kind of as like a part-time gig and do some design consulting and things like that. And so I kind of joked around and started off with this hashtag of Jig Squad. And all it was a hashtag. A hashtag. That's it. And then all of a sudden other people started using it. And then I decided, I'm like, you know what? I said I did a lot of contact with people in the fishing industry. And and basically people are like, yeah, we're not interested, dude. I'm not going to say the company. I actually had a company that kind of really put my feet in the right direction of what I wanted to do and solidified it when they told me that, hey, if you want to do stuff with us, you have to fish more tournaments. And I thought, are you kidding me? I'm like, so that is a big company. That is a big company that should have understood a year and a half ago that social media was changing and the social media influencers and shows were an important part of the experience. I'm not going to say the company's name. I'm going to spill a lot of things tonight, but if anyone thinks that I'm going to be throwing people under the bus, no way. That's not my style. I don't do that. But I am going to tell some scoop on some things. So, but anyway, that happened. And I'm like, this guy, this person, I'm like, what kind of buffoon is this? He has no idea. And I'm going over like things about marketing and branding and how I could do different things. And people are like, whatever. And I get it. I'm the new guy, right? So I finally said, you know what? The industry doesn't want me, so I'm going to go do my own thing, right? So I decided I was going to do a show. So I decided the summer of 2021, and I'm like, I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to start at the beginning of the year. Let the Kyle down. He says, let the bus hit him. Yeah, I know, buddy. I want to, but I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as to why I'm not going to. So I said, I go, you know what? I said, I'm going to do a show. I was good friends with Travis Manson. I'd been on Travis's show. And like I said, I had a real good relationship with Travis. I knew other people in the industry. And I just said, I'm going to do this. And so the last couple of months of 2021 were me planning to start a show. And my first show was on the 30th of December, 2021. So really my first show, instead of being 2022, was really December 30th, 2021. So this is my 1-year anniversary. And I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn how to stream. I had to learn how to make a YouTube account. I had to learn a lot of different things. So I'm going to talk about that with some of the highlights. But that was the start of Jig Squad. And I ultimately said, I go, there's a lot of people out there like me that are good designers, that are good people, that understand jig making, and for a lot of different reasons, right? And yeah, it is very hard, right? So there's a lot of different things that go on. And I said, there's a lot of people that have a lot of stories that need to be told. And I'm like, if I could just be the mouthpiece of that, I don't mind. I could talk in any crowd. And I said, if I could do that and provide that environment, I said, I want to try and do it. And what do I want out of it? I just want to prove to myself that I could do it. So here we are, 1 year later. So I'm going to talk about little highlights, right? But before, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to combine it. I'm going to do highlights. Gary, thank you very much, buddy. 1 year anniversary. And so I just want to show you guys, this is what hard work can get you, right? And I grinded hard this last year. All right. This is my 34th. This tonight is my 34th show. 34th show in total. I did a pop-up show, and I did a Saturday night show, and all these together, 34 shows. One was on a Sunday. The pop-up show was just on a Sunday. I decided I wanted to do it because I had off the next day, and I did a Saturday Night Lights show. You're going to hear more about Saturday Night Lights a little later. Other than that, my shows were all on Thursdays. I was consistent. My shows were at 7:00. You knew when my shows were. I started off the year and I did 10 shows in a row, and then I started going to every other week. Why? I needed my own sanity. I needed to gather steam. I needed to get through the winter, and I needed to move on and be able to fish, spend time with family, do other things, right? Um, yeah. Hey, Alf, I appreciate that, brother. You guys hit the like button. It helps out. YouTube says that they like you to hit the like button. That's how it all goes. Um, and so 34, this is my 34th show, but here's the thing that I want to highlight for you guys. 205,000 views. 205,000 views. 8.2 thousand watch hours. That's not views, 8.2 thousand watch hours. 1,037 followers. And you know how much, because I just was able to monetize on YouTube because I hit 1,000? How much I made in the last couple of days since I've been monetized? This is what I've made from doing YouTube this year. $2.05. Hey, but get ready 2023 because we are going to crush. All right. So, but anyway, that gives you an idea. 205,000 views, 8.2 thousand watch hours, over 1,000 followers. And I'm going to tell you why this is important to me. This is a big deal to me. Here's why. Because there's people out there. I'll talk about. Some of this will be in lessons learned. Those are big accomplishments to me because I did it all with live shows, and then the last 2 months and a half, I started throwing YouTube shorts up, short little videos. That's unheard of. The scene does not think that you can do live shows and get moved towards that type of end. You've got to do fishing videos, all this other malarkey. Not interested. This is Jig Squad. I'm Mike Murphy. I'm Barracuda, and this is how we do things. So we made it. We made it in a year's time. And yeah, tax deductions coming. Here's the thing. I'll in another show I'll talk about that sometime. But I welcome the 1099. I welcome the 1099 so I could finish earning my last few credits in Social Security because I work in education. So I need to finish up my Social Security credits. But anyway, I'm real close. But that's how I'm going to do it. So instead of getting a part-time job, I'm going to finish my Social Security credits up by claiming 1099 off of YouTube's dime. So, and I appreciate you, YouTube. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. All right. So couple other things. So of these 34 shows, I'm going to go over this real quick. And here's my thank yous. Okay. And I'll talk about you guys at the end here. All right. So one, I just want to thank my wife and my kids. I have 3 boys at home, 3 Murphy boys. I want to thank Lady C. Just because this is the bedroom and I take pictures down right here every week and put the Barracuda up. I've only done 1 show from the basement down by the Bass Candy Lab. Hopefully I'm going to do more there in the future, but I want to make sure I check on the Wi-Fi a little bit more because I had a few problems when I did Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Elf, once every 2 weeks, then any other non-water. Right. I mean, here's the thing. I've learned so much, and I'm going to talk about you guys in a minute, but listen to this list. So the wifey and my kids, I thank them for everything, especially my wife, for putting up with me and all these things and the time I put in on all this stuff. But here we go. Here's the list. These are all the guests that we had on the show this year. Average 25 jigs per show, close to 900 jigs during the show alone. Brian Schmidt, I throw him off. He tells me when I go less than the old times we used to do that I throw him off because he's planning on how much production he's going to get done. All right, so here's the list. SDG Custom Lurecraft, Adam Felder, Ben Nowak, Brian Schmidt, Debo, 9K Elite Lures, Gary Sheets, Evan Luda, Almerda Tackle, Brian's Custom Tackle, Dem Jigs, Brennan Chapman, Tightrope Fishing, Small Jaw, Dan from Small Jaw. Everyone knows Dan from YouTube. Larry Hadley, The Angler, some of the sickest painted heads in the game. Tall Tail Jigs, talking about trout, stream fishing, twitching jigs. CT Fish Nerd from out in the East Coast, everything from stripers to freshwater bass. Super K Jigs from up in Wisconsin. Max Baranczyk, Angler Assets, some of the sickest spinner baits in the game. Battle Baits, that guy Skimpy, Cumberland Pro Lures, True South Custom Lures, one of my favorites. Frank Scalish talking about color and how you change things up. One Cast Fishing, Aaron Diddy, what a show that was. Talking about tin, custom jigs, spoons, everything. Matt Luna, On the Fly Tackle, Jamie Bruce Fishing, Big Jim McLaughlin, Mike Iavino, And I'm going to say the last one, who was my guy, who helped me out when I co-host when I first started getting the show going, which was Epic Eric. And so I haven't spent a ton of time talking about that, and I'm going to talk about it right now. But before I talk about that, I just want to say I thank all of you for Guggen Slayer. What's up, buddy? Kyle Downey. Did I miss? I don't think I missed anyone. If I missed you, I apologize. Anthony, what's up, buddy? So I think all of you, there's so many names. You guys have all been around. I appreciate you tremendously because you know, a lot of these are my thank yous, right? I'll talk about a little more from things I learned in a second. I got to keep my sections of my show organized. But the Epic Eric thing. So here's the deal. Epic Eric and I just exchanged Merry Christmases the other day. We send messages back and forth. We're great friends. That has never changed. It's always been that way. The deal with Eric and I was that when I got started, he was going to help get me through the beginning. And then we knew fishing season was coming. I knew he was going to be out fishing tournaments. And so basically what happened is, you know, I talked with Eric and I said, you know, so Eric was going off starting to fish tournaments. And I said, you know what, buddy? I said, I made the decision that I had to find out whether, you know, because I was going to be doing it on my own for a while. Right. And I had to decide, I'm like, I have to learn. I said, I'm going to do the show on my own for a while, even if you are around. I said, because I have to figure out whether I want to have an all the time co-host or not. And so it was important to figure that out. You know, I was putting a lot of time in on like contacting the guests, having conversations with the guests, the show planning, the graphics. Like I was doing all that, right? Because Jig Squad's mine, right? Eric was just helping me out, co-hosting shows, helping with the transitions, interacting with the chat. And but I told him, I said, like, hey, and he'll be the first one to tell you this. And I told him, I said, hey, I got to find out whether I want to have a co-host or not. And yeah, no problem, little Rich. But you listen, what the stream's going to be here, bub. You know, if you're on Spotify or no, because I'm not broadcasting there yet. But anyway, the replays will be on there. It's better safe than sorry, bub. You can always check it out when you get home. So I told Eric, I go, listen, I'm going to do this on my own for a while. And plus, he was off fishing tournaments, and I said I have to find out what I want with Jig Squad. And ultimately, what I figured out was that I wanted to do hosting on my own. And let me explain to you why. The reason I decided I wanted to do hosting on my own is because I'm a worrywart, right? I stress about these things, right? And that's just me. That's my personality with life. Right? But I'm very concerned about other people's experiences, right? You know, Carl, thank you very much. I'm very concerned about other people's experiences. I would give the shirt off my back for somebody. And I want people to have a good experience if I'm able to provide that for them. And that was part of, you know, why I was doing all this. But when I had a co-host, it was like I almost had like a double worry, you know. So like I want to make sure the guests are ready to go. I want to make sure the guests can get on electronically. But what happened is when you have a co-host, you want to make sure your co-host is taken care of. You want to make sure your co-host has the link. You got it. There's all these other things, and it was another level of worry for me that required a little bit of extra time of getting on before the show, making sure the co-host is set up. And I realized 513 Plumbing, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it a ton. I realized that it was more comfortable for me to do the show on my own. But that came at a cost, right? One, because Eric is awesome, right? But that's okay. And he was a co-host on another show, and he can't stretch himself thin either. And the other part was that the cost is that it is hard. I've learned on my own that it's difficult interacting with chat and keeping certain guests engaged. Some it's easier, right? But you guys all know this. There's been times when I've been able to be more interactive with the chat, and there's other times where I wasn't as interactive. And so I feel that overall I've done a pretty good job. Thank you very much, Rick. Yes, more to come, right, buddy? Wait till you guys hear some of the stuff coming, man. You guys are gonna die. I have graphics to show you guys tonight. This is the real deal. This is not like, oh, here's 2023. No, this is the real deal. This is Jig Squad. This is next level, right? So So basically that's kind of what happened. And the thing is, it was a natural break because Eric was going off fishing tournaments, but I story because I never fully talked about it, right? And Eric would vouch for this very story, and I call him a dear friend. He's an amazing person. And you never say never. I might even have Eric on as a guest. You'll hear about more specials in a little bit. Okay. So, but anyway, let me get back here to highlights. All right. So I talked about the 34 shows. Integrity. It's a big thing to me. One Cast Fishing. What's up, buddy? I was just talking about you. Thank you very much for coming on the show this year. I was just talking about thanking all the guests that had come on, and I had mentioned you. So I appreciate you a ton, buddy. So integrity, being consistent. I'm not here to knock other people about consistency. I'm here to say that my shows were on Thursday nights, and that's how they went, right? It is what it is, right? That worked for me. That was important to me. Integrity, what do I mean by that? It was a big deal for me to prove people wrong. That big company that told me to go scratch, basically, I wanted to prove to them that, like, I'm gonna rattle things, and I'm gonna make noise, and big things are coming, and you're either in or you're out. And I don't blame anyone for not being in because who am I? We all hear from the new person that they're gonna do all these things and proof prove it to people, right? Walk the walk. And 1 year to me, and sitting here right now having this conversation, I feel like I walk the walk. Yeah, haters are gonna hate, right? So design work. I don't know if you guys saw on the story today. There was one design that I had up on the computer screen. It was one of the first designs they learned how to, to start doing. And I looked at it, I go, oh my God, this is awful. Horrific. But you know what? When I was making those designs at the beginning, I was like, man, this is awesome. This is great. I thought it was awesome. And they were brutal. They were just brutal. And I'm going to tell you something. I could design stickers, badge logos for your company. I could design thumbnails like the best of them. And if you go and look at all my thumbnails, I have the same format for them, but I change things up. I change the background images. I change all the color schemes. I bring in actual jigs from the person that's coming on the show. Every show. I took the time to do that. Why? Because it was important to me. And now a year later, what did I get out of it? I could bang out thumbnails with the best of them. And I'm proud of that. I think that it's made me more marketable as a brander, as a marketer, as a person able to offer people different things. And I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. So a lot of lessons learned, right? Prove them wrong, right? You learn through time. All right. So, there's so many new things. I want to give you guys a chance. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, Sean, when you tied your first few jigs, you learn as you go, right? Um, yeah, I mean, Kyle, giving somebody a chance. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of times you don't deserve the chance, right? You don't deserve sometimes we don't deserve the chance. Like we don't deserve the opportunity because you haven't earned your stripes. Like I do believe in that. You have to earn your stripes. But you know what the thing is? How many of you ever sat in a discussion with others and said everyone deserves their first chance? They do. It's just it's a grind, man. And when I'll tell you something, guys, when you talk about hours, I if I was to tell you I put in 20 hours a week doing Jig Squad stuff, that could be light. It's all I did. Um, whether it be designing graphics, whether it be interacting with people, creating relationships, talking to people that I wanted to have on the show because I'm thinking I'm a new guy. How am I going to get this person to come on the show? I've got to tell them what I do. So that means I got to write this nice email or message, and I have to be thoughtful. I can't sound like some clown. And I did it, right? And I did it. So let me talk about a little lessons learned here because maybe I'll go back and forth with some of these things. Guys, like I said, 3 sections tonight. Highlights and thank yous. That was number 1. Number 2 is going to be lessons learned, which we're going to go into right now. And then the third is going to be the future, which is banging. But as I talk about lessons learned, I'm going to go back and talk about highlights too. A little bit of George, let's talk about that 1 second. I'm going to go back and forth between highlights and lessons, but George just says, let me highlight this. He says, "I learned bad looking jigs catch fish too." That's exactly right. So I, I'm going to be able to talk about this more of like the Mike Murphy Barracuda idea of jig design, right? With some things that I highlight in the future. Okay. Um, but this is a great comment. I'll tell you why, because we always try and imitate somebody else, like another style, another design. And the reality is, we don't need to imitate somebody else. We don't have to have the exact material they have. And the people in the fly world will tell you that. You have to make it your own. And that's the very reason why we talk about these things. That's why I came up with the theme of flow, color, and design. Make it your own. Um, and have reason and purpose why you make things. And no one gets good at anything until they are bad at it first. You can't get good unless you have something to improve on. So this is all of us. And even the things we do know that we're good at in life, there's 5 other things or 100 other things or a million other things that I'm not good at. And so jig making is no different than that. But in time, I'm going to talk about some different opportunities people would have to kind of get started that make their lives easier. And you could be a thoughtful designer without having to have all the bells and whistles, right? Um, so and so my other thank you is to Do Molds. um, I was and this is going to my lessons learned thing a little bit too, and I'll go back and forth in these things. So basically, so I've been with Dual Molds for two plus years. So this past year, right, Vince? I mean, I've been with Dual Molds for the past 2 years, and I have I didn't have to. I worked hard for Dual Molds, but I didn't have to manufacture things, right? Because it was what I was already doing, was my style, it was the way I talked about things, the way I carried myself, the way I talked about molds. And once in a while, and I know I even sense it sometimes during this past year during shows, there's some times where I know maybe I sounded a little bit silly, not many, but all the other times it's the real deal, man. The stuff I talk about is the stuff I use. And I know that a large part of my show, even though let's say you got designers that are on that have their own custom design molds or things like that. Doesn't matter. I mean, everyone was pouring with a dual mold at some point in time, whether they were before or now or in between. The whole point is that we create an experience for all to be involved in, right? So lessons learned. I talked about time. Man, it's like going in a bait shop. Everyone in the fishing industry, or not the fishing industry, I'll just say the bait shops, they'll tell you once they own a bait shop or open a bait shop, they don't fish anymore. Well, I time is a big deal, right? So what happened is I poured my heart into this year and I fished less. I made jigs less. But I had to find those times to go make jigs. I probably fished less this past year than any year that I can remember in the last 30 years. That's the truth. Um, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I was more thoughtful when I went. I was more. It helped me be excited about planning. It helped me engage with other people in a way that I don't always need to be fishing in order to be happy about fishing. And if you get that comment, then you get it. If it doesn't make sense to you, it's never going to make sense to you. But that's kind of what I learned this year. Um, again, integrity matters. All right, so Darius, let me throw this out there. What's he say? I highlighted and I went away right away. Um, I saw Kudon Smallmouth Cross in the chat. I saw him in the chat. I never knew he had a YouTube channel. You have a great show. We need to get the word out, let people know how good a show he has. Darius, I appreciate it, dude. It's gonna keep happening. You got to understand too. This is a very niche show. Um, a lot of the shows out there and a lot of shows that I like do a lot of different things and bring in a lot of different guests and talk about fishing, right? And all cool things. That's not what I do. I interview jig makers. You talk about jigs. You want to learn about jigs, you come to Jig Squad. Um, and yeah, I know, Jermaine, the up north guys. It's hard. And I just know that um there's things that I want to do that are gonna be a little different, right? So I'm gonna focus on some different things when we start talking about for next year. You're gonna like um what's happening, Jermaine. Buddy, great stream last night, by the way. You and Brendan killed it. HB was a good guest, hella bass. Um, so integrity again. Integrity matters, right? Uh, what do I talked about the co-host thing. That's good. I feel like I got something off my list finally. Yeah, Scott, right. Get passing the winter. How do we get through the winter? Right. Um, but a couple of things, I I guess one of the things I learned is to I told you I would give the shirt off my back, and I'm very conscious of how others do things, and I pay attention. I analyze the market. I'm sorry I'm using some marketing words now, but it's true. And I pay attention to these things, but it's all about character to me and integrity and how people do things. And there's a lot of people that will help you out there. Um, and a lot of people helped me this past year, far past just the guests we had on the show, right? Um, and I'm thankful to everyone. Um, but the thing is, at some point, you got to get a little selfish, right? And you have to know your value. And your value is always more than what anyone's ever going to pay you for or sponsor you for. Those are all secondary things. And so I don't think of those things like getting paid and sponsorships in that way because of that, right? Because I know my value. I bring to the jig industry, and you all better get ready because we're gonna start setting it on fire in 2023. So that's kind of my opinion on those things a little bit, right? I have a funny little segment I'm going to do here in a second, but you have to find companies that one you have to like their product, right? You use companies' products that you like. You may think they're a bunch of slaps, right? Maybe. There's so many, companies out there now, right? Small bait companies. But you want to make sure that, like I learned about my value this year, about what I brought to the table. And it wasn't about me working hard. Like me working hard and putting in time didn't dictate my value. It was the value became what I said, how I said it, and how other people responded to it. And that's a big deal. Um, Bass, I like these as we go. Let's see. I ran across the first live show by accident a year ago when I was first started making jigs. I love it. I look forward to every show. Thank you, Bob. I look forward to seeing you, dude. I look forward to seeing you, man. You see the names, they become part of your kind of fishing family. Um, so all these things happened, right? And I was a guy that said, I'm a ride or die. I was a ride or die guy in 2022 with Do It Molds. Why? Do It Molds has been very good to me. I have a great relationship with Do It Molds. Um, I had a lot of creative freedom to do what I wanted to do. I most of everything that I put out, 90% of it, 90 plus percent of it is all things related to Do It Molds. And I think I killed it. And am I better than other people? No. But I will say this, like I have a good relationship with them. I appreciate the things being part of interacting with them. And it was a great year because of that. But the thing is, and I have to say these things, right? You guys got to hear this. So I never thought I was going to tell you guys this, but I decided I was gonna, because I said I'm going to tell everything. So I'm going to tell you that in I would say August. In August, I was sitting there having double thoughts. I'm like saying, and then going into September, I was talking to myself saying, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. I'm not kidding. Um, and so, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with me. I was burned out. And and I had never been burned out before. And it kind of started like I don't know why. I was kind of burned out. Um, I don't know why I was burned out. I wasn't fishing. I wasn't fishing a lot. But I was burned out of grinding so hard in the amount of time. And so I almost said, you know what, I'm done with this YouTube stuff. Um, I really did. And I loved it. I liked doing it, but it started becoming a little too business-like for me, right? Like I don't know. Like I said, I believe in taking care of people. I want them to have a good experience, and it comes with stress. And I didn't need the stress. And I decided, I was thinking to myself, do I want to do I want to finish this year with the stress of it all? And yeah, so then I said, just slow down, just your routine. Mike, I appreciate it, buddy. Mike says, glad you did it. Right. And I kind of owe you guys this story, right? So Anthony says no one talks about the why questions, color, flow, and design, right? To have a gathering every couple of weeks to learn is priceless. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Al says a lot of grinding, hit a plateau in your mind, and then you'll break through. Right. I inherently believe that all things in life, as time passes, we heal, right? You could put that in however what you believe in this world, right? But time heals all of our minds, right? So I kind of let it rest for a little bit. But I got to tell you guys, if I had 4 quarters, 3 of them were in the bucket saying I was done. That's how close I was, right? And there was only one more flip. um, and the reason I'm telling you guys this story is not because, oh yeah, I had a year and I almost didn't make it. I'm telling you this story because I worked so darn hard and creating the culture that I have with Jig Squad this past year, like so hard. And I wanted to do it. Yeah, Frank, wait till you hear, brother. It's going to be, I think I added a little stress for me, but I will tell you it's more enjoyable stress. So wait till you hear these things. Yeah, Gators, Debo talks about it. I'm going to tell you something. That guy, I got no brown water tonight, folks. It's just DDP and a little water. Why is this a big deal? I don't know. It's a big deal to me because you start to, you naturally start to compare yourself to other people. Sometimes you wonder why you don't have, and other people do have. Even though you feel you got to earn things, you sometimes got to stop and say, man, at what point does that come across? And so, I did some reflecting and I kind of realized, there's clicks in the fishing scene, right? And I don't mean that in a bad, I guess clicks probably isn't a positive word, but clicks isn't a bad thing to me. I love being in clicks. I like hanging around with different groups of people. Look at people that come to the different fishing streams, right? But there's clicks out there, and a lot of times people will help you and be good to you, and then there's times where they're just gonna kind of like they'll drop you like a bad habit. And um, like I said, I'm not here to talk about names. I'm not here to talk about brands. I'm not here to talk about different things. I'm just saying it's out there. There are circles and they're real, and people are real, and do people walk in different ways. And the thing is, I knew that I was creating a culture with Jig Squad where, I'm gonna walk my own way, I'm gonna do it my own way. And that was the whole point of it. And then I started thinking in August, September, I go, is that it? Did I realize that I've done it? Have I been consistent? Have I done the things I said I wanted to do? And then I said, is there more? Is there more I want to do? And that's basically what determined. And after that, it was it was pedal to the metal. Once I kind of got out of that little rut, I'm like, time to grind. And I started planning. I started saying, let's get ready for 2023. I'm a big planner. By the way, I'm gonna drop it on you in a little bit. Um, I'm releasing the show guests for the next 6 months, for the first 6 months of 2023. So if you wonder if I like to plan, I like to plan. I'm not interested in these last minute deals and all these other things. I don't know what to say. Like everything's worth time to me, right? Um, you know, I uh it just is. And I will say this, of my 3 categories right here in the middle. This one I didn't write. I didn't like writing. As a matter of fact, I got angry writing it because I started thinking negative things about people, and I don't know. And I'm trying. I didn't do any of this for anyone else than me, right? Um. So, but anyway, what else did I learn? I learned that I was a one trick pony because I was working with one company. That's the truth. And that's never going to change. Like I make jigs. That's what I do. I don't just interview jig makers. I am a jig maker. So I make jigs, and that's never going to change. But I put all my eggs in that basket, right? So I realized that that's not the best plan for sustainability if I want to pursue more with Jig Squad, right? So and then the last thing I'm going to say, I kind of call I put it in the three categories, right? So the three S's. Who was it? Somebody in chat. Who was it I said earlier today? They made a comment on Instagram, and I go, get ready for the three S's tonight. So here's the three S's. Here's the people that are out there in our fishing scene, right? In the fishing industry. Three S's. There's the saints, there's the slaps, and there's the shills. The saints, the slaps, and the shills. Okay, that's the truth. Who are the saints? Well, I'm not going to tell you who some of the saints are, because then you're going to see a standard and you're going to compare other people up against them. But it's the saints, the slaps, and the shills, right? The saints are the people that help other people, right? They do good things. They're thoughtful. They genuinely want people to have a good experience, right? And a lot of times, sometimes the slaps want to do that too. They want to do good things for other people. But I'll tell you what, the difference is the slaps will drop you like a bad habit when time comes. So that's all I'm going to say on that. It's just, but they're out there, and you all notice. And then the shills. Shills isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes people, and I'm not going to give any names, but like I said, some people, all they do is try and sell, and they try and literally jam a discount code down your throat. But you know what? I will tell you this. When they put stuff out, sometimes some are just straight up shills. But sometimes when people put things out, they're thoughtful. They genuinely use it. It's part of who they are. It's part of what they do. And you see that. And I'm not talking about this isn't in the jig making world. This is just in the fishing industry, right? You see these things come about. You see people talk about how great something is. And the reality is, I'm thinking, there's no one in the right mind that thinks that bait is as good as, I'm not going to say what bait, the Z-Man stuff. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to say more. The reality is, I feel like people fill those roles, right? And everyone decides what they're going to do. I can tell you this. I'm definitely not a shill. I'll never be a slap. And I'm not good enough to be a saint, but I'm trying, right? So that's how I'm going to put it. All right. So that's what I kind of think of these things, right? Here's the thing. I want to put this out to you guys. What questions do you guys have? You guys have questions about, like, you guys tell me if you got something that you wanted to know about, anything that happened during the year, or anything. Because wait till I got some juice coming. I appreciate mainstream. Mainstream's dropping an unboxing at 9. Very cool, buddy. Yeah, so like if you guys have questions, ask away. All right. Okay, Alf, this is a great question. So I actually should post this on Instagram, or I'll bring it. I don't have it on this computer, so I can't bring it up right now. So where did Cuda came from? So the Cuda on the wall is a replica. Yeah, I am a tease, right? Wait till you guys hear the future. The future. It's like Marty. I'm like Marty McFly. Back to the future, and now we're going to go to the future. You see how that works? Ben Tesh, Brian Tesh, whoever's behind on the fly tonight. This was a replica. It wasn't a replica of a fish I caught. I've caught plenty of this size, but I caught one even bigger quite a bit bigger than this one. But anyway, the name Cuda, it was Barracuda, and everyone needs a name back in the day that you use on like forums and all that kind of stuff. And I was Barracuda. And the reason it was Barracuda is because I was down in Mexico and I caught a monster Barracuda, and my friends started saying that. They're like, Barracuda, Barracuda. And so I put it in as one of my names on a forum back in the day. I'm talking like 2000 and 2000, I don't know, 2003. And that was it. And then it was just kind of Barracuda. So I have this one. Every show, there's two pictures that are right here because I'm in the bedroom, right? There's two pictures that are right here. I take the pictures down. I go get this barracuda that's on the wall in our family room, that the wifey lets me keep up there. So that's yeah, but that's where it came from. Um, all right. So Guggen Slayer says, what shows are you going to? Um, I'll be honest with you. A few people, I just saw an invite today from somebody, and I got to get in touch with them that I completely missed from like 2 months ago, and I don't know how that happened. Um, what shows am I going to? Do I watch Guggen Slayer, or will I go on? I'll go on anyone's show. To be honest with you. Um, yeah, I mean, I know mainstream made a comment with Brendan Brown about doing something soon coming up. I'd be more than happy to hop on with those guys. Searching with Sports Cards. What's up, buddy? Texas Noob 2010. Thank you, brother. All right, let's see Gary's comment here. Is there something in the jig world that's not out there or just about to break out? Um, Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I cannot deny that people talking about tungsten and its use on sonars provides more visibility. But I'm going to tell you guys something. I don't have sonar because I don't have a boat. So I could give a flip. So you could keep your tungsten. I'm not interested. Here's my opinion of tungsten. Um, Honest comment. I think bottom fuel is better with tungsten, unquestionably. Besides that, I don't see its value. That's just me. But in terms of bottom contact, you cannot argue with feel and sensitivity is better. I don't want to hear about size and your ball head jig is a little different profiled size. Yeah, but you got a 3.5, 4 inch skirt on the back end. None of that matters. But for bottom feel and sensitivity, it definitely matters. So I honestly think that we're going to see most of the stuff starting to become oriented towards the live sonar stuff. And I don't know how that's going to go. That's not my game. But in terms of what else is out there, uh, yeah, this is a real good question, Gary. Here's my opinion. There's a lot of people out there that want to make custom jigs. What I mean by that is custom molds. Okay, sounds good. There's not a mold that I can't modify to do whatever the heck I need it to do. That's the truth. There are some cool things out there that I've seen people do. Great, looks great. Congrats on a new idea. A lot of people do that. And a lot of people do that for mass production when they're a company. So they have somebody making them. There's companies out there that will mass produce those things. So you get a custom mold made. But there's a lot of guys like me that are making stuff in my garage and want custom molds. And it's not for me. Like I don't need that stuff. There's nothing I can't modify to get the things that I want. But if you're a company, there's reasons why you make custom molds. One is for production purposes. Two is you get slight modifications, and importantly, you're able to use the exact hook that you might want to use. And so there's times where jig designers will want to use different hooks that a guy like me modifying has to. I get a little extra flashing or things like that. That's why somebody would make a custom mold. So, but that's the part that drives me nuts about the jig making scene. But I do understand why other people would do it, right? Frank, lead is not the only choice. Can you pour something else? Yes, you can. So, Frank, if you go back and watch, I did a show with Aaron Diddy, and Aaron Diddy talked about just look at the badges. I think custom spoons and stuff like that, I think was the title of it. But anyway, actually, I'm not going to go look it up. You could look for it. But anyway, he talks about pouring and incorporating tin into the lead mix, which is a ratioed mix. So it's not, so basically you're going to get the same profile with a lighter head. So let's say it's a classic 3/8 size ball head in lead. When you add tin to it, you might be able to get that down to 5/16, but the same size. And there's different reasons you would do that for different applications. One, because you're able to use an upgraded hook size or a larger hook size and a larger styled mold, but have a lighter weight. Changes the fall ratio, but tin is the biggest one, and it's not talked about enough. But if you want to hear some more about that, you go watch the Aaron Diddy show. Let's see. Searching for sports cards. How are you, buddy? Welcome. Matt says, do you know of anyone that has attempted to build an epoxy jig head like for a swim jig, not like the saltwater ones? It's interesting you say that. There is somebody that was in chat. I don't think he's here now. He may be working on some things that are wooden related, and I can't say more than that. But what I'll say is, Andrew Fishing the 262, what's up, brother? Finally back, man. So, Matt, I think that there are guys that will pour with hot glue and other things like that to build heads on A-rigs. Not sure if I was supposed to say that. But same concept applies to epoxy heads. And I know the A-rig guys, that is like an underground type of thing. But in terms of other jigs, I have friends that have messed around with playing like triple jigs, like a plain jig that would have a main jig and two on the side, and played around with like epoxy heads to change the weight, things like that. But in terms of any manufacturers are out there, I don't know of anyone. Mainstream, thanks, buddy. We just got to talk. So Guggen Slayer, in terms of outdoor boating expos, actually, to be honest with you, I have to go and look and see what the Chicago ones are going to be. If I'm going to do any, it's going to be the Chicago ones. If there's any in Indianapolis, I may consider going, or Michigan. Michigan has some good ones too. But I have to check the schedule. But I think I am going to try and go to a couple, minimally the Chicago ones. Usually there's one in Schaumburg and then in Chicago itself. Yeah, there's a reason X-ray techs use lead as a block. Right. Exactly. So Andrew's been gone for a long time. He's been like freaking opening baseball cards and all this weird stuff. I don't know what he's all about. He says, I have a boat. I live dirt shallow 90% of the time. Don't even turn the graph on a lot of days. You sound like a river fisherman, Andrew, a shallow river fisherman. Can you bypass that with a better rod? Yeah, I think mainstream, I think you can. I honestly think you can, right? Because that changes sensitivity. So there's no reason why that can't be a mitigating example, right? I really think that you're correct when you say that. Bottom feel, amen. Visual sonar, yeah. It's amazing when a Dremel, Darius King, it's amazing what a Dremel tool will do. Dude, I'm a do it molds guy. I'm a lead pour. I love to modify. Let's see. Oh, so Google Slayers is like the machine more than tungsten ones. Interesting. Tin, Sean's saying tin. Tin. I don't know if you're going to get enough people talking about it, but I think you're going to hear more about tin as we move further along in the Jig Squad experience. Have you, so Texas Noob says, have you modified a mold that is similar to the keeper on the Z-Man Ned rig? Yes, many times. Many times. You can definitely do it. It's a simple, sometimes I've actually done it on one where I didn't even have to Dremel it out, and I was able to just whack it with a hammer and just did the indention. And that particular mode, it did it just enough. But other than that, it's just a simple little line with a Dremel tool. Tennessee Bassmaster, what's up, buddy? Yeah, Matt is right. An epoxy jig would fall slow and nice. How many decades have jigs been made out of lead? Wow. Before I was born, brother, and I'm going to be 50 in January, right? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Anthony's asking, are you seeing more designers grabbing a blank mold and creating with a machine shop? Is this the future? I'm going to say no, Anthony. I'll tell you why. So I'm a lead pourer in molds, and I'm not going to tell people how to go about getting custom molds made. Basically, that's what I'm going to say. There are other ways to do it besides getting a blank mold, because Do It Molds does sell blank molds, right? And you can have a machine shop, like you're saying, CNC it out. But one of the things that happens in the process with that experiment is that typically those CNC people are not fishermen. They don't understand weights and different things like that. So you basically, there's a lot more, right, that goes into it, because now you've got to figure out how to make a quarter. How do you know that mold's going to be a quarter, 5/16, 3/8? There's always going to be a slight variance, but the point is you're shooting for those targeted goals of whatever your desire is to make that mold. And to do that, it becomes extremely difficult, right? So now you're talking about the prep process, the CAD process, and all these other things. And There's other ways of going about it, but I do know plenty of people that have done that. And there's guys out there on eBay that'll build you custom molds, but it's going to cost you 200 and some dollars a pop, uh, minimum, so it's just, I don't know if it's the way of the future, right? I think that you're going to see more and more people wanting to do that, but frankly, Anthony, I always feel like ever since I've been making jigs, there's been people wanting to do that. Like I haven't seen it change, right? In terms of my own experience. Yeah, and then imagine the versions, like Andrew's saying, it doesn't just get through one pop. Um, they probably have to go through multiple iterations. And the thing is, what I've heard is shops will tell you that, we're so booked, we don't have time for it. We'll try and squeeze you in. It's almost like you feel like you're you're starting off with somebody that's not advocating for you first. And I just don't. So we'll see what happens. Um, yeah, definitely a lot more to it when it comes to designing baits, right? So much so that it exhausts you sometimes, right? All right, listen, this is what we're gonna do. What are we at? We're 55 minutes. Who wants to see? All right, first announcement. You guys want to do the first announcement? Um, all right, let's see. What are we gonna do? All right, first announcement's an easy one. So I am working with Do It Molds in 2023. I'm with Do It Molds for another year. Most of you probably aren't surprised by that. I love Do It Molds. Uh, what I do is their thing, right? I use their stuff. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to overdo anything. They give me creative freedoms. It's been a great interaction experience, and I appreciate them a ton. So yeah, that's number one. So I'm with Do It Molds. Who wants to see? Here we go. Shocking. All right. How about this? Who wants to see? How about this? I don't even know. Does anyone know how many likes does the video have? There's 54 people in chat right now. How many likes does the video have? Let me see if I can click over. 44. I guess that's not too bad. How many people are in stream that aren't subscribed? You Gators is gonna kill me. George is saying he's seen somebody that made jigs with epoxy and added tungsten dust to the epoxy as weight. Funny enough, George, most of the tungsten jigs out there, when they say a tungsten composite, it is a ratioed mix of that because the compressed tungsten, I guess they say, can't be done. 45, which is great. So everyone chat. So here's the deal. So who wants to see the 2023 Jig Squad intro screen? There's going to be a new intro screen for 2023. Starter Revolution is officially gone. Who wants to see it? You may say, nah, we don't care, Kuda. We don't care about them, just like we don't care about your stickers. Yeah, by the way, all good. If people don't like stickers, I get it. But I tell everyone, I'm like, keep in mind what I told everyone. $2.05. That's all I made on YouTube this year. I make no money from any other companies. I sold stickers and made about $200. And that's after I designed them all and everything else. That's like profit. So, but no one wants to buy stickers anymore. I have a new pack that I just put up, sticker pack number 5. I thought they were pretty cool. People are like, nah, we don't want to buy them. Okay. Guys, listen, if you want to support Jig Squad, that's a way to support Jig Squad. Buy a sticker pack. Message me on Instagram. Show it. Scott, I don't have it here. I to be honest with you, I posted it on Instagram. You should be able to see it on Instagram. They're really cool. They're nice stickers. They're downstairs. I'm not going to grab them. But anyway, you want me to show you the stickers? You want me to just get back, show it. All right. So, I show it. I get what you're saying. You're saying, all right. So here's the deal. Let's get this going. Let me go. This is going to be the new Jig Squad intro for 2023. You ready? It's beautiful. Look at that flow. Look at that. You guys want to talk about flow? Let's show one more time. Just so you guys see that flow. Look at that. That's flow. I didn't pay anyone to do all this high end. Some guys I got some cool intros. I got a custom Jig Squad Mike Murphy one. All right, let me click back on comments. What do people say? Fancy, sweet. I like it. See, this is nice because I got to tell you, Who's looking? Wait, let me scroll up. A Flow Trucker hat, Andrew. On drugs, Gary. Right. Psychedelic. It was from the Grateful Dead album cover. I took it off it. I'm teasing you. It's a lot of flow, right? Mikey Watt, what's up, buddy? Welcome. I like Calabasas' description. It's like an exploding jellyfish. I like that. I actually think I might put that on like a little Instagram post or something. It's like an exploding jellyfish. I love it. Okay. Love the 3D text. Needs music. Frank, you might not have heard the story of what originally happened. So so here was so the first show. So you guys see I said the StreamYard logo up here. I don't have a primary show sponsor, right? No one's paying me any money to do Jig Squad, right? So I didn't pay for the upgraded streaming software because I wasn't making any money at this, right? So in order to do that, I got to buy upgraded streaming software. It takes the StreamYard logo off up there, and you're able to do some other cool little features, right? Well, one of the things that happened during my first show, I had music that was it basically was part of the intro. And you know what happened? I got dinged by YouTube for they flagged me on my first show. They came after me because I used somebody else's music. And the worst part of the whole thing was I appealed it and I won because I had permission to use the music. It is what it is. I had a license to use it through Canva. But then they said no, Epidemic Sound. So the next show, they dinged me again. They said you're not going to be able to monetize this show in time. It's all going to go to Epidemic Sound. I appealed it again. They took it off. But I said no more. I'm not playing the music until I get some custom music made or I have a licensing for music. So basically that's what happened. Whose face was that in the blue? I don't know. Was there somebody's face in the blue? Gators, you must be having some edibles or something. I'm not really sure. I didn't see a face in the blue. um Tom, what's up, buddy? How are you? Let's see. The jiggiest jig show in the world, Faith First says. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Elf. It's all everything's copyright and you got to do these things. So I got to learn more about it. But basically what I've decided to do is I'm going to have custom music made. And I have somebody to do that. So yeah, and Hellabass has it right. I just need to grab music from YouTube audio library or stream beats. So that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, it's coming, right? So that's the start. All right. So let's see. Do It Molds. I told you guys that. I'm working with Do It Molds next year. Colby uses Epidemic. Right. I don't want to pay Epidemic, Colby. I'll be honest with you. Talk to me again when I start making money at this, right? Okay. There's the intro. So I've talked to you guys in the past. I said we are expanding Jig Squad and we are going to start moving further along the line. We already talked about a lot of bass. We're going to move further into talking about walleye, crappie, and my personal favorite is the salt. And these are the salt, bass fishing, and then the salt are my two loves, right? I love everything else. But we are really going to push this in the coming year. So what is that going to look like? So we're going to do a couple of things though. But before I talk about the show guests, I'm going to do that in a minute. Faith First Fishing. What does it say here? I could get you some custom music with a narrator saying, "Welcome to the greatest jig show on earth," hosted by yours truly, Kuda, or whatever you'd like to say. Interesting you say that. So funny enough, my wife does voiceover work, and I potentially thought about having my wife do it because she's voice is phenomenal, and I might have her do it. So I considered that as well if I want to play off that theme. But I do appreciate that offer. That's great. Andrew's a walleye guy, so he kind of likes this, right? And you know that is good advice, Hellabass. I'm gonna have to look that up, and Colby seems interested in that too. So we're gonna be moving into these other types of fish, but there's gonna be two. Duncan had low budget audio issues. Yeah, I know, man. I appreciate it. And if you ever start slapping the keyboard again, buddy, I'm gonna hit me up because I'll do something with you. All right, so who wants to see another graphic? There are going to be, I told you we're branching off into crappie, saltwater, walleye. There are going to be 2 new styled shows that may start to introduce themselves on the Jig Squad Experience channel. That's right. 2 new shows. I'll probably be the host for them. But we're going to do which one am I going to do first? Let me just play. I just got to hit play. You guys like the graphics. You guys like this. So, the first new series is you're going to like this one. Let me just show the video for it first. Here we go. The Bait Makers by Jig Squad. A little ominous, dark background, clouds, road to nowhere. What's happening? What are we doing? The Bait Makers. Okay, so basically what the Bait Makers is going to be is I am going to have separate from all the shows I'm about to announce, right? For the next 6 months. Separate from all those shows, I'm going to have additional nights that we will periodically do the Bait Makers series. And they're going to be random. They're not going to be all the time. But what it's going to be is I'm going to invite 4 different anglers and then myself, or 4 different people on to debate a topic. So, like as an example, I might have Faith First Fishing, another user, Colby Livingston, Hellabass, and Brian Cole from Brian's Custom Tackle come on, and everyone will be on the screen, and I will introduce a topic, right? I will introduce a topic, and I will say ballhead jigs or football jigs. Go. And I'm purposely going to pick people that I know potentially might be diabolically opposed in terms of some of their opinions and thoughts. And I'm going to allow this debate to start to unfold. I think it would be fun. It'll give people an unscripted, they won't know what the topic is ahead of time. They would just be brought on, and this would be a topic of discussion. So basically, you would have to formulate what your opinion is on that, and you would have to take a side. And then it would be an interesting show that's all the show would be. And it might be a half hour, it might be 40 minutes, but it would give people an opportunity to see people go back and forth and say, you're full of it. What are you talking about? To challenge each other, all in good fun. I realize that could completely go south, but I think, look at Faith versus already calling it football by a landslide. But stuff like this, I think it would be, like this. Right, Alf, you got it. And I think that this would be fun, and it would be another way to bring an interactive thing. Obviously, I would like to do it mostly around jigs and stuff like that, but it could be around trailers, plastic baits, other things like that. So that is the idea for the show. I think that it'll be fun. I think that people will like to do it. These are going to be add-ons to the interviews that we do with the regular Jig Squad. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, and I'm not really sure how this is going to go. I started to book guests for this year, but then the second show is going to be, I want to have an educational opportunity for all jig makers to learn. Hold on. Let me go comments back on. Larry, the debate show. I like that. The debate show. Do you have how-to videos on jig or jig molds? Texas Noob, I do not, but I'm telling you something. If you are on Instagram and you message me, I would be more than happy to have a one-on-one conversation with you and help out along the way. I will say this, the Do It Molds recently released in the past 6 months a whole mess of videos about how-to videos on getting started with jig making and pouring and lead pouring and things like that. It's a great tutorial. Anytime you're on the show, Texas Noob, if you have questions, we'd be more than happy to help out. But if you message me on Instagram, I would also be more than happy to help you out one-on-one and individually. to try and get you squared away. All right. So, but it's one of those things. I have made Jig Squad off of the end of interviewing people, right? And people said I couldn't do it, and I did, right? So, but anyway, I would be more than happy to help out, and that's a couple of ways to try and do that. All right. So the next one is going to be I want people to understand elements and components. You need to change your name then. Yeah, I guess so, right? Um, so that's why we say buy Jig Squad, right? That's I think as long as you throw it in, we're always golden. So the other one is when we do features of the saltwater guys coming in, I want to, I'm basically gonna the theme around that is gonna be this, right? Here's another graphic that I made for the whole series of bringing the saltwater guys in, right? So here we go. And so I'm calling it Rising Tide Saltwater Jig Design by Jig Squad, right? Um, so that's the other type of series of shows that we want to do. And I'm not really sure that I don't know if that's going to be one. We're going to do straight interviews. I know that, but then I think I also might do some other components and have people starting to, Alf, thanks buddy. Rising Tide. I love it. I just think the whole concept, and I'll tell you for a couple reasons, right? Let me show it again. I think the whole concept of saltwater jig design is so elemental to in and starkly different than our way of thinking is classic bass jig, crappie jig fishermen. Crappie jig fishermen understand the colors more, and bass jigs understand the earth tones more. But saltwater guys, there's components of all the above, right? And so to understand their methodologies and thinking is a big deal. And the thing is, I think it also lends itself to the whole move and push that I'm trying to make for people going into the hair jig end of things and starting that revolution and moving in that direction. Um, yeah, bucktails and metal jigs in the salt are great, Guggen Slayer. Um, yeah, Al says saltwater guys understand beer more. Um, Matt Jersey says, have I ever contacted John Skinner? I think he would come on. He's a great guy, designed his own bucktails. I have him in my scopes. That's what I'll say. I have him in my scopes. I will tell you, you know what, Matt? This isn't about saltwater. I just want to throw this out there. This is a back to lessons learned. I want you guys to know that there are people that I've contacted that basically told me to go scratch, and were rude about it, like bad. And I was like, are you kidding me? I won't say names. And I will tell you another thing. People that are very, 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 how do I say this? People that you would be shocked said, go scratch a Jig Squad. People that you would be shocked. And I'm not saying because they didn't want to do it, because they thought they were too cool for school. People in the bass fishing companies, some smaller companies in the bass fishing world, not small in the garage, but smaller companies in the bass world. And I will tell you this, I will never invite them on ever again. Why? Because their attitude stinks, right? They think they're too cool for school. So whatever, no big deal. One person in the saltwater world did that to me, and I won't say the name for that either. It was a bucktail maker. Probably, yeah, that's all I'll say. But nonetheless, um, it's all good. There's a lot of people that are dying. They're saying, I would love to come on Jig Squad. But the thing is, guys, I'm just gonna be honest. I would love to have everyone on. I can't do enough shows, So it is what it is. Yeah, Skinner's the founder whisperer. He is, and he's such an educator. He actually, if I'm not mistaken, he was a lecturer on the college level. He's a fantastic guy. Yeah, the next drift channel, Guggen Slayer. Good comment, right? Okay, so anyway, Rising Tide. All right, so let's get to the show schedule. You guys ready? You guys want to hit this off? We're at $1:15. That's where we're at for time. All right, that's my thank you list. God, this is all this note stuff. This is ridiculous. I don't do notes. That's not Jig Squad style. All right, so next week, guys, we're doing a Jig Squad Super Week. 3 shows. Are you ready? Are you ready? The Jig Squad Super Week. All right. So first up is a big one. Matt Acevedo is gonna really like this one. So we're starting it off. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, and we're starting off with the salt. So on the third, yes, so many things to do with so little time. January 3rd, all the 7 p.m. next Tuesday, 7 p.m. next Thursday, and 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. We're doing Saturday Night Lights as well. 3 shows. Jig Squad Super Week. Next Tuesday, the 3rd, 7 p.m. No live bait needed. Some of the hottest jigs and swim baits in the entire saltwater game. Snook killers. But I'm going to tell you something. You all better get ready because we're going to be talking about something even better than chasing snook with NLBN. No live bait needed. They make a bait that is next level goby imitator. And I've slayed the smallmouth on it. And you better get ready because I know they're in stock too. And if you've paid attention over time, you'll know that I've talked about it. But they're coming. Like Deion Sanders, they're coming. All right. Next Thursday, we're getting into some walleye. Isaac Lockich. The guy fishes a couple pro tournaments here and there. Isaac Lockich coming. We're talking walleyes next Thursday. 7 p.m. Next Saturday, I just want to say for the record, next Saturday is on Saturday Night Lights, not this Saturday, Saturday the 7th, is the only repeat guest that I have for the first half of 2023. The only repeat guest. Brennan Chapman from Doing Molds is coming on Saturday the 7th. We're going to talk about what 2023 looks like, some things coming down the pike, and some fun stuff there. So it's always good to hear from the companies, right? We want to hear these things. Next, on the 12th of January, we're not skipping a week there. We're going right into it. On the 12th of January, Final Persuasion Angling is coming on. Mr. Chase Johnson himself. And guys, Chase Johnson makes some of the sickest twitching jigs in the game. And he's got a creative jig head that doesn't have a shank built in already. It's just the head and the eyelet with bucktail or marabou built off the back end for twitching jigs. And you can put on whatever hook style you want. You got to hear this guy's talk on paint. He's also phenomenal at paint, but his twitching jigs are extraordinary and next level. Twitching jigs, for those of you that don't know, are a lot used for coho, river run, all the salmon and trout species. But the cool thing is a lot of these designs are things that people should try in freshwater as well. So pretty cool stuff. And Chase is a phenomenal guy. And if you look up Final Persuasion, I'll start posting all this after tonight, right? And then on the 19th, again, I'm not skipping a week. Trippy Sticks is coming on. You guys have seen me post pictures of Trippy Sticks. Faith first, maybe merchant time. I haven't gotten around to it. I have a sample coming though, but not yet. Trippy Sticks is coming on, who's a phenomenal crappie jig maker, and I spotlight him and show spotlight his stuff on Jig Squad. He also makes some bass jigs, football jigs. Really, Alf saying trying to cut up a tin can if it catches fish. Yeah, Alf, you're my kind of guy, brother. All right, so Trippy Sticks is coming on. It's gonna be awesome. Next, after that, we are skipping a week, and I'm going to my every other week schedule. So we're going to hit January a little bit at the beginning, and then we're going to go back to the every other week schedule for a little bit for most of the time until we get midway through the year. Then I got on the 2nd of February, Dan Brodzinski is coming on Jig Squad Live. Now, if you don't know what Dan Brodzinski is, Dan Brodzinski is the proprietor of Tin Man Tackle. And if you guys ever go on Stripers Online or anything like that, Dan is an old timer who's been making bucktail jigs for a long time. And he's one of the most respected bucktail jig makers for the striper fishermen on the East Coast. I think he's one of the best out there because so many people speak so highly of him. But it's going to be great to hear his processing and talking about head design and why weight forward hook designs on swimming bucktails and how it changes the movement in the water. It's going to be a phenomenal show, and I'm super excited to have Tin Man Tackle on, and the striper guys from out east are going to show up for this. All right, next one, the 16th of February. You guys are going to like this one. You guys know what Jig Geek is? How many people have seen Jig Geek on Instagram? Jig Geek makes a lot of hooks, makes some crazy cool stuff. You got to look up Jig Geek on Instagram. He's going to come on. We're going to talk about metals. We're going to talk about materials for the forging of hooks. Some really cool stuff. But Jig Geek's coming on the 16th of February. Then March 2nd, Eric Massey Jig Company's coming on. Eric makes some phenomenal crappie jigs. Another crappie jig maker. He's coming on. It's going to be an awesome show. The 16th of March, and I'm going to post all this on social media, guys. The 16th of March, Relapse Tackle is coming on. If you ever type in jig making on YouTube anywhere, you'll come across Relapse Tackle. He's got some incredibly thoughtful ways of modifying things sometimes and creating things in his workstation. And I'm super excited to have him on. I enjoy his videos tremendously on YouTube. And again, it's going to be awesome. Relapse Tackle. And then March 23rd, I'm excited about this one. My guy that I've been talking to ever since I've been on Instagram from the West Coast, a striper fisherman out there, fishes the salt. Is Jig Geek really the son of Bass Geek? I didn't know that, 3F. If that's the case, that's crazy cool. Maybe it's just, you're just saying that because of the geek name? I don't know. Is that really true? But anyway, if not, it's still funny. The 23rd of March, Jig Addict is coming on. And if you haven't seen Jig Addict's Bucktails, it was funny. 3Fs. Jig Addict on Instagram. He's on the West Coast out in Cali, and his bucktails are awesome. He takes some really cool pics. He's an inspiring dude. Makes a lot out of the ultra minnows, the mold, but he's coming on. It's going to be awesome. Talking about saltwater fishing. It's going to be cool. Now, this next one is somebody new and really exciting to me. April 6th, Delta Bass Bugs is coming on. And so if you're on Instagram, go look up Delta Bass Bugs. Okay. They make a lot of saltwater stuff, but here's another thing, more West Coast guys, right? They make a lot of flies, but Delta Bass Jigs likes making jigs as well and makes some really, really cool stuff. And from a design element, there's a lot that we can learn from him. And I'm really excited to have it's a son-father combo on to talk about that. And that's Delta Bass Bugs. Then on the 20th, I have Ledgelord Bucktails coming on. So not as gigantic a presence on Instagram, but he's an awesome dude. He makes some really thoughtful things. And Ledgelord Bucktails is coming on April 20th. The next one, guys, it finally happened. A folded over tin can that looks like reindeer fins would swim in a very erratic way. Hell, I want to see that, brother. You got to make this. I got to see it. I got to see it. All right, so what's going on here? The next one, not going to happen till the 4th of May. This is the one a lot of people have been waiting for. Finally, this cat agrees that he's going to do the show. John's Jigs. So John's Jigs will be on the 4th of May. So super excited about that. John's been featured on Instagram on Jigsquad and makes some pretty cool stuff. And then we're going to follow that up on the 18th of May with Boat Shakers Tackle. Excuse me, it's actually Boat Shakers Fishing. And I've spotlighted his stuff before. He makes a lot of fantastic multi-material hair jigs that are really awesome. I'm really excited to have him on. He's another person on Instagram that we feature. And then on the 1st of June, Tennessee Custom Tackle is going to be on. So, and he makes a lot of cool hybrid jigs, very proportioned, some really nice stuff, does a lot of silicone work as well. Colby's saying, and I want you to have Colby on again. Yeah, DBB is super. Delta Bass Bugs has super interesting ideas. He does. And I just think it'll be cool to spotlight. And that's a good comment, Colby, on Dan. Funny enough, Dan and I were just emailing back and forth just the last couple of days. So, but anyway, those are the show guests. We're going to have a lot of other people on. I'm going to do other things, right? I want to do, these are all Thursday shows, by the way, but I am going to do more Saturday Night Lights. It's not going to be all the time. It's going to be random, but you can expect that we're still continuing on with the Thursday night show plan. All right. So let's just keep moving on. Rising Tide, show schedule. I talked about Saturday Night Lights. We're going to try and do Saturday Night Lights. That's where I'm going to be able to talk more about what I'm doing myself. Maybe it gives me an opportunity to have another night that I can bring people on as guests. I kind of think that depending on what happens in time, it would be nice to get Brian Schmidt on another time. Maybe even Dan Smalljaw on for a Saturday Night Lights. Maybe talking about some more instructables for people. Sean, what did he say? Go check out Dan's he posted here on YouTube this morning. That jig is sick. Yeah, Dan makes some great stuff. Will, don't worry, buddy. You'll catch some cool stuff on the replay too. What's up, buddy? I'm glad you made it. Okay, so I talked to you about Saturday Night Lights. Super weeks. I very likely will do additional super weeks this year, probably during the summer. There is some adjustments to show schedules this summer. We are going to Costa Rica. I'm not telling everyone when. I don't tell people when I go on vacation, but somewhere along the way, I'll be going to Costa Rica with the family, with the wife and the boys. I'm super excited. That's going to be fun. We're going to do fun stuff. Brian says he's always in. Awesome. Because Brian has a lot of instructables on materials and things like that I think would be valuable for all of us. Okay. Next thing. I don't really know if my mind's going to change in this or not. But the grind of doing YouTube, like I made the comment about being a one-trick pony before. At some point in time, the channel's monetized now. And so I'm going to have to, I'm making the decision that I am going to do subscriptions on the channel. I might change and say I don't want to do them. And let me tell you guys why. I don't want to owe anyone anything. If you guys want to support Jigsquad, buy a sticker pack, right? No one wants to buy sticker packs. Otherwise, I'd prefer to do that over, but I've got to be able to figure out a way to make this worth my while too, right? So I am thinking about doing subscriptions. A lot of channels do it. A lot of you are part of that process. What I'll say is this: the reason I'm hesitant about subscriptions is there's a few things. One, I don't like the idea of telling people I'm going to do an extra show just for subscribers a month. The shows I do, I want everyone to be able to see. That's the truth. I also, I feel that I already spend the time telling anyone that I'll talk to them. So like, there's got to be some perk. I feel that if you subscribe to a channel, I want people to do that out of their goodness of their heart and they want to support something. But the reality is, I tell people I want you to support Jig Squad and buy sticker packs, and people don't want to buy them. So I don't know. Maybe my design skills aren't what they are. I think they are, but so I am thinking about doing subscriptions. So why? Like I said, it's got to be more with my while. Does it mean anyone needs to subscribe? No, I 110% do not expect people that you have to do that. If you want to donate to Jig Squad and you find the show valuable and you feel that it's worth a few bucks out of your pocket, then that's something I'm going to consider doing. I don't want to do extra shows. I don't want to do all these other things. I will find a way, perks. Maybe I'll do if you subscribe, you'll have an opportunity to get sticker packs at 50% off. So then it would just be a little over cost for me on sticker packs. I want you to get something. I want you to get something out of giving me money, not just a show. I want everyone to have the shows. I don't want to answer people preferentially. Like a lot of people say, you'll get preferred answering of your comments. That's fine. Anyone can do that on their shows. If that works and it's another thing that comes into play on large numbered shows, but that's not Jig Squad, right? And I don't want to value one person over another because you gave me money. So just being honest. But I might do it. So Colby's going to send me some pictures of jigs. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, and Matt's saying right here, I don't demand it and I don't expect it, but I know a lot of people do it, and I would be stupid not to be at least offered this as part of the process. It's just another way to support the person you watch. If you feel it's worth it, then cool. But I don't find nothing wrong with it. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like I said, I really want people to did you show the sticker? Alf, I did not. You know what I'll do, buddy? I'll show it on Tuesday night. And if Alf, the other thing is if you email me, bud, at jigsquadfishing@gmail.com, I could send you pictures of all the stickers too and different ways to pay. Will Junkin, I'm on sticker pack number 5. He says, I got 2 in a magnet pack. Need to get those others ordered. You just gotta let me know, brother. I'm around. I have them. I'm doing smaller quantities of the sticker packs now because they've changed, right? I have a new one that just came out. I have one more left of the one sticker pack number 4, and then I have the sticker pack number 5s in. So I want people to get something out of it, right? I want it to be worth your while. But I am going to do the channel memberships. If you do that, you do. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. My Venmo's down below. You want to throw me 99 cents or something? Send it to Venmo. Okay. The sticker pack IG didn't have a banner on the post. That's why, Kuda. Yeah, potentially that's so. Okay. But they're out there, guys. So uh anyone message me on Instagram and I'll make sure you get a picture of it. If you need to email me, that's fine too. Okay. So that's subscriptions. Can you say that email again? Yes, absolutely, Elf. Jigsquad, Jigsquad fishing at gmail.com. All one word. Jigsquad fishing at gmail.com. And if you need to, Elf, it's also down below in the description for the show. Okay. All right. So here's a couple other cool things. So custom skirts. All right, so look at I monetize and look what happens. Larry Hadley gives me a super sticker. I don't even know what to do. Am I supposed to, you know what I do, Larry? That's a slap right there. I think that's I don't know. Is that like a super chat? I don't know. Anyway, dude, Larry Hadley, I appreciate it, bro. You've always been there supporting me, and I think it's awesome. Here, I'll type it in the chat. Alf. Probably should have just done that in the first place, right? Jigsquad fishing at gmail.com. So that should be it in chat. Jigsquad fishing at gmail.com. And then I can send you pictures else so you see them all. And then the different ways to pay. All right. So here's another thing. And you guys could give your feedback on this. So one of the things, even more than pouring lead, what do I like doing? Yeah, Venmo. Right. You're exactly right, Anthony. YouTube takes a percentage of it. Wasn't highlighted. I got you. Yeah. All right. So listen, I love designing skirts more than I even like designing pouring lead itself. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment with. I want to design skirts that I'm going to make available. Like I'll come out with a river series. Here's a river series of skirts, 5 skirts in a pack. Maybe it'll be a variety of colors, whatever it is. I'll try and make the price comparable to what you get a 5-pack of pre-made skirts for. But they're going to be Jigsquad custom design skirts that you could take. Sean, dude, I appreciate it. You guys don't have to do this. I don't need your money. Well, I want money to do this, but I want you to get stuff out of it. So, but I appreciate all these things, right? So thank you very much, buddy. So I'm thinking of designing custom skirts that would be available for you in my design, my style. And so I'm thinking about experimenting with that. So if you're somebody that wants to just change out jigs, or you want an opportunity just to buy a handful of pre-made Arky styled head jigs, which you can do, and then you want to you want to just put skirts on them yourself, this would be a way to do that, right? So I don't know. I'm going to experiment with it. I'm going to put some colors out there, and if people feel that they potentially would want to get 5 packs of these custom designed Jigsquad skirts, then I would consider doing that. Or if you're looking for custom skirts and you have something in mind, I'll tell you what I can potentially do. And I would make you skirts that you could use to put on your jigs. They would be rubber tied. And then you would have to wire tie if you so desired. But they would be not rubber tie. Yeah, they had the rubber collar. You could put them on. Actually, that's how I make my jigs. I put them in the rubber collars. I put them on the jig, and then I wire tie it, and then I cut off the rubber collar. That's how I do it, unless I'm hand tying them in and layering colors. So, but anyway, that's coming. So, I will also tell you there's going to be new sponsorships coming. What does that mean? I can't. It's not out yet. It's not. Yeah, there's gonna be some new sponsorships coming to Jig Squad, or my experience, in what I do. So that is happening. So if you are a company out there and you're interested in talking with me, by all means, hit me up, because it's my time to listen. Right? Like I told everyone, I'm no longer a one trick pony. I need to diversify, um, my experience, and yeah, and I think that goes for sponsorship of the Jig Squad show, or other opportunities, for me helping you in your business. So if you're out there and you listen to the show, doesn't mean I'm willing to come do stuff for you. But if you're interested in talking, you can contact me on Instagram, message me there, or at jigsquadfishing at gmail.com. All right, so that would also include custom licensing. So here's my favorite one. So there's two things. One, I'll tell one. I'm going to make more jigs. 2023, I'm going to get away about doing everything for everyone else, and I'm going to spend more time enjoying making jigs, right? And I realize that there's a way, possibly to make a few dollars at it once in a while. And I'm going to try and do that. What does that mean? I am putting myself out there to companies that I want to work with, um, or will consider that, talking to people. Um, I want to do custom design work. That's what I want to do. I want to create custom colors for jigs. Um, I'm not here to critique other people's jigs in the world. I have a style, and there's color combos that, I like and I want to design, and that's what I want to do. And to be honest with you, had I had the opportunity to do that, Jig Squad might probably never would have started. That's the truth. But I have a lot of ideas that are different than other people's stuff, and I want to do them, and I'm gonna do them, and I may make them available to you as just skirts, and people to grab. Um, but this also plays into probably the biggest news of all, which I'm super excited to announce as I take a big swig. All right, let's get ready for this one, because this. So if Randy could get $10 a jig, you could get at least 11 per. So here's the deal. Maybe another show someday. Maybe it's Saturday Night Lights. I think Randy Blaukat deserves to charge $10 for his jig. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna leave it here. What happens if I bring Randy on Jig Squad? You guys never know what's gonna happen. I am unpredictable sometimes. All right, so listen. I'm about as loyal as the day is long, right? I believe in good people. I believe in who I am. I believe in where I'm from. All right. I'm from Chicago. That's where I'm from. I believe in honoring my hometown people. I believe in being good to the people that have been good to me. Um, I'm cut from a cloth that just says you do things a certain way. I don't jump ship. I don't play on the winning team. I play on my team. Always has been that way. As a matter of fact, if I had to pick, I'd pick on the underdogs over the people that are hot to trot. But I'm going to tell you something. That also means that I believe people have to grind, right? Um, and I have decided that, and I just mentioned a little bit ago, that I'm going to pursue custom licensing opportunities, right? But I have agreed to do a custom licensing in a project with a company that I hold dear to my heart, and I am super, super, super excited that um, I am going to be putting out some of my custom design colors with another company. So, and this company is one of the best out there. They make one of the best jigs in the entire game when it comes to smallmouth. They already make it. It's their jig, it's their design for the jig, but there are going to be custom Jig Squad design colors that are going to be coming to this brand. And when is that going to start? We're going to move into that in 2023. But here, let's just get a little graphic going. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about this company a little bit, because no one makes a finesse styled or a smallmouth styled jig as good as this. And these are my hometown peeps. You guys ready? You just want to see it? I got a graphic for this one too. Everyone's interested to see where I'm going. Who am I going with? Who am I going with? Let's get ready to roll. That's right, peeps. It is hands down the best designed jig for smallmouth in the game. And I'm proud that I'm friends with the tightrope people. They're my hometown crew. And I'm bringing there's going to be Jigsquad custom colors that are going to be part of the Baby Fireworks Super Jig lineup. A lot of people don't know Tightrope. Tightrope was born in Chicago by two guys, and they started making jigs, and they grinded, and to this day they still grind and make the jigs themselves. They make the jigs themselves, right? They cut a deal, and Ketchco picked them up for a certain number of colors to do jigs as part of Ketchco. But make no mistake, the Baby Fireworks Super Jig has been catching hogs in Chicago in the smallmouth scene for a long time. Not only that, it's in the entire North. It's one of the best jigs out there. I'm going to tell you more, because people don't know the story. People talk and they don't even know what they're talking about sometimes, but I do. So, and that's why I'm going with Tightrope. I'm going with Tightrope because they're my hometown peeps, because I'm loyal as all get out to JP Hay and Ryan Whitaker. Yeah, Anthony, let me just highlight your comment. It's a great smaller hook. That's exactly right. It's a 2/0 size hook, and I'm going to tell you something. There is not any other finesse jig or smaller size jig out there that has as good of a hook. I'm not going to say what it is. That's not my thing. I just want to tell you it is one of the best jigs out there, and there's reasons for it. The Tightrope Baby Firework jig was meant to do very specific things to keep you out of heavy rock cover. It's meant for the Great Lakes, but it also excels. There's largemouth colors out there that actually kill swimming it. It's a fantastic jig, and I'm going to tell you something. Every time they put out a color, they sell out like hotcakes. They are part of the fishing scene in Chicago. Those jigs, they sell out like crazy, right? And I'm talking, if you go on the Tightrope Fishing site, you will see colors that they have, but there's going to be some Jigsquad design colors that are coming to Tightrope Fishing in the Baby Firework jig. And I'm excited. Why? I don't know, because this is what I want to do. I want to design things. That's what I want to do. Alf, I appreciate you, bub. You guys are all good people, man. You know, I appreciate you tremendously. It's that good of a jig. And the Tightrope boys, JP and Ryan, this thing's been being made since 2012. Ketchco only started putting some of their jigs out since like what, 2018, 2019? Wasn't even 2018, was it? 2019. So the point is, this is it. I'm Chicago. That's how I roll. That's how I do things. There are other companies out there that I'm interested in potentially working with, but I will tell you this. The colors that come out, the Jigsquad design colors that come out with Tightrope, will never be seen anywhere else, right? It won't happen. That's how you roll. That's how I roll. That's how it goes. So, Andrew, that's a good question. What rod for those? All right, 7-foot medium light, extra fast. I actually like medium more, just be honest. A lot of guys could throw, the quarter ounce you could throw on your bait casters, right? It's a 2/0 hook. No one beats this hook in the industry. It's that good. I'm just saying. It's 2x strong. It's forged. It's the real deal. And it's an awesome jig. It's an awesome design. It's thoughtful. It's meant to keep jigs out of rocks. If you're a smallmouth fisherman, This is it. It's meant to imitate gobies. It does all the things that you want to do. Yes, it's a fascinating concept. No football heads, straight up ball heads. It's meant for deep water fishing, right? Or whatever relative that means for you. For some people, that's 9 feet of water, right? And you are pulling that jig vertically up. It's got a 90-degree line tie. Everyone out there knows that I've talked and said I'm a ball head jig guy. I always have been. You know, you don't, you know, there's plenty of other things you could do. Guys, there are companies out there that I really, you guys listen, there's a lot of people I really love. There's a lot of small companies I really love, but there's a couple of companies out there that I have my eye on. Just gonna be honest, you know, that I would like to do custom stuff with. But here you go. Here I am, people. So 2023 is not going to be about me chasing anyone down. I put in my year. Not that there's a requirement that things are a year, but I did my time. I had fun. I'm going to do Jig Squad live. I want to. Chris, I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I love Jig Squad, guys. I love all of you. I love this experience. I love that it's all just about jigs, right? I kind of, this was hard for me tonight, guys, because like when I show you this list, like I'll turn it, right? You get to see, look at this. There's a lot on there. That whole middle section right here, I didn't like writing that, you know? Yeah, Gary just said it. Matt Steffen talked about this as one of his secret jigs. Yes, he did. That's exactly right. And I'm gonna tell you another thing too, Gare. Bradley Hallman did a video a month back, and he was talking about the little brown jig, right? The old school classic little brown jig, and he was reviewing different jigs and why they didn't have these different things. And one of the ones as he's reviewing these different jigs, he spoke well about was the tightrope fishing jig. It's that good. So Delta Craw color. Wait till you guys see. It's gonna be my colors, but their stuff is phenomenal. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. Don't sleep. They're doing some micros, which you will not see from my designs yet, and there are different reasons for that. They're gonna be probably quarter ounce size. But they have the micro jigs on tightrope are next level. So the skirting material is different than what you find on most skirted jigs. They're smaller sized, 1/8 and 16th ounce, and they are the real deal. So I couldn't have found a more perfect fit for me. It just turns out that it's a Chicago thing too. You know, and yeah, that's how it goes. If somebody's interested in custom skirts, I'm going to come out with some things. Like I have an idea about a river series of jigs that I want to do, how I think a river jig should be designed color wise. I'm actually going to come out with, you know, in time, you know, you might see something that could be more designed for largemouth, right? Colorway. But I'm going to, it's going to be fun. And so what I'm telling you is that once those come out on tightrope fishing, we'll announce it here and you guys could go over there and you guys can purchase it there, but it's going to be the only spot you're going to be able to get that colorway ever. And to be honest with you, once it's out, depending on what we think in time, it's going to come out in limited batches, right? And you may not see it again. You know, you may see it again in several months. So it's going to be one of those things. It's going to come out, and those are going to be my creations, right? And it's off of one of my favorite jig designs of all time, and that's the tightrope fishing baby super firework jig. Like Giordano's oregano red. Anthony, listen, I'm going to tell you something. One of them, how can you not imagine that something might have purple in them? It won't predominantly be purple, but something might have purple in it. You know that already. Super matte brown is my river color. Yeah, Guggen Slayer. That's a great color. So many cool things coming out. But if you're, like I said, so these are some of the things coming, and I want to do more jig making. I want to play around more. I'd like to tie more. But you know, like it's going to be hitting the grind next week. We're going to be getting into things. No Live Bait Needed is going to be a great company. They're big in this. It's swim baits. It's the swim bait game, custom designed jigs. for those swim baits. Kudu, they have jigs for largemouths in Texas. So Texas knew I just want you to know something, that there is an underground railroad of of baby fireworks super jigs that go south to Texas. And I'm just gonna that's all I'll say. um, it's a great jig. It falls different. Uh, you want to fish it on, like I said, I talk about it in terms of smallmouth because that's predominantly what I fish for. But you want to talk about slipping current and pulling that along eddy lines or dropping it on a weed line down in Texas, and it changes the rate of fall because of the volume of the material, the way it's tied in. They're all hand tied. They're all with a keeper. Like, it's the real deal. So 2-aught hook, super strong. Yeah, they're phenomenal. You should go look at them. And you know what? Until the Jig Squad ones come out, if you buy anything there, I don't know if they have comments or not. Just type in, tell them Jig Squad sent you. I don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything. Just take a look at the site. You get an idea of what that jig's going to look like, and know that, like Deion Sanders, they're talking about lately, we're coming. So, Chris, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it, guys. 1 year Jig Squad was a big deal to me, and I think I know almost every single name in chat, right? And so this is awesome. So we had a good turnout tonight. You guys got to hear a lot of the story. Hopefully I didn't leave too much out from you guys. Hopefully you guys like the idea with some of the new shows and all the other things we're going to do. I am kind of excited to kind of start designing some skirts and see if people are interested in them. I want to give you a chance, if you're not a jig maker, that I can direct you to some people that may be able to make custom Archie style jigs, and you can buy them in the weights that you want, and you could play around. You could either start painting them on your own or just do them unpainted. You buy the pre-made jigs, and then you could just start messing around with some skirts. And you could get into the jig making experience without even having to do molds. If you do want to do molds, there's opportunities for that. I'll start talking about that next week. Doing molds has a couple of cool things going, with some opportunities to get small little handheld pots for pouring molds at discounted prices, between the molds, the hooks, everything you need to get you started. But if you really want to get down to it, there's people that you could go on eBay or even other designers you could buy Archie style jig heads for flipping jigs and stuff like that. That'll sell you just the jigs unpainted, and you could buy 1 or 2 cans of powder paint and start playing around with skirts and making your own jigs. So, all right, let me see. I don't want to miss any comments. Schmitty, I appreciate it, brother. Skirts and hats. All right, cool. I'm going to start melting my leftovers with a candle and go from there. I think you're going to be successful, Alf. I completely see it. When is the Jig Lab launching? Did I miss you say when? So I showed, there's a Saturday Night Lights I did, Anthony, there's no like online store that I'm going to do. I'm just going to tell people I have these available. I'm going to post on social media what the skirt patterns are going to be. That's how I'm going to do it. I do have Jig Squad reserved as a website. So any clowns that want to go chase me down on that later, it's already bought. I've had it for 2 years. Trippy, I was just saying nice things about you, and you're going to be on a show coming up. Bass, thank you, buddy. Alf, I just mentioned him. So Trippy Sticks Ahead is going to be coming on. He's a phenomenal crappie jig maker. And then also Eric Massey Jig Co. Eric Massey, I think you say Eric Massey Jig Co. And then Trippy Sticks, this guy right ahead, he's going to be coming on too. And you could find Trippy Sticks stuff if you're on Instagram. You could find Trippy Sticks stuff there. Great show, great ideas. Dave, I appreciate you, buddy. All right, guys, listen. We're just shy of 2 hours, which is longer than I want to go. This feel like old school days, but there was a lots to go over. Like I said, lots coming for 2023. New intro, Saturday Night Lights, saltwater, walleye, crappie fishing, custom colored jig designs coming to tightrope fishing. On the baby fireworks super jig, the colors are gonna be on the way. I appreciate you all, you guys. So for everyone that threw a few bucks out here, I don't know how this all goes. This is all new to me, but I appreciate it. I got to keep track of this. And I thank you very much. I'm scrolling up because I didn't realize. Let's see. 5. Sean, thank you. Larry, thank you. Al, thank you. Chris Hill, thank you very much, buddy. Dave Richardson, everyone else, thank you guys. I appreciate you. All right, guys, listen, we'll be back next Tuesday for Jig Squad Super Week. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Tuesday, no live bait needed. Thursday, Isaac Lockett. Saturday, Brendan Chapman. 1 year, Jig Squad 2023, we coming. Peace.